Hello and welcome to the Thresher Football Show. I'm Dan Page alongside interim head coach at Bethel College, Dalen Markham. Bethel College now to 4-4 on the season after falling at home to Southwestern 41-14, the final score from North Newton in this first home divisional game for the Threshers, and just 3 games remaining on the season. One of them is on the road, the other 2 are at home, so that's always great to hear, at any time. But it'll be a tough finish for the Threshers as they fall to 4-4 on the season. And the Southwestern game started off really well from kind of the opposite what has normally been for you guys. I guess really well is kind of an overstatement. The defense still, gave up a touchdown there, but the offense, diligently went down the field and scored, and we thought we really had something going on there.
Yeah, we did.
For a second there at the beginning.
Yeah. But
I guess we'll just go through the game a little bit, Coach, and it was 7-7 after 1. They had a big run on their first drive, and it seems like, for them, they known for being a passing team, on the scouting report, they just wanted to come out and run at the beginning.
Yeah, so they actually do a lot of good job. They're pretty balanced on the year, and they're pretty balanced in the game as well. So they have players good on line, good running back, so they got them going early, and that kind of just puts on our toes a little bit, because especially on the opening drive, let them a 60-yard run is kind of tough, but. Yeah, man, just one, 2 guys to do the job, and then the running game it popped. So that's the game of football. Everybody has to do their 111 and do their job. So one mess up, any run can pop. So.
Yeah, they scored that first touchdown on, they had the receiver come from the right side of the formation all the way over to the left.
Yeah.
Kind of just challenging guys. It was kind of similar to what Tabor ran on their last touchdown against you guys in a way. But obviously it puts you in a difficult position being down early pretty fast, actually. I'm only 2.5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's quick.
But you guys ate up a ton of 6 or 7 minutes of clock on your next drive. And, I really was really impressed with how the drive was orchestrated, honestly. I mean, there was times where, DJ created situations where the defense had to stop and think.
Yeah.
And I know that's exactly what you guys wanted, situations where he's rolling out and they have to stop, you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And, obviously you guys ended up with a 2-yard rushing touchdown from Torrey Curry on that first drive. But really, I mean, I'm sure in your guys, now that you watch the film on the game and everything, there was so much that had to go right there, in the passing game as well to set that up.
Yeah, so, that was a beautiful drive. There's like 12, 13 plays, one of the longest drives since I've been here. It was the longest drive, and we executed finally with a touchdown in the red zone, which we've been harping on all week, especially from back. So we're just kind of harping on, when we get in the red zone, we got to finish. So we finished that drive, and then, Coach Den had a good little script that he went off of, 8 to 10 plays, and then kind of freestyle a little bit here and there, but man, we had to put in some rollout plays for DJ because everybody was scared of DJ's leg. So get him out of the pocket and then making the defense make a decision: are they going to rush or are they going to stay in coverage? So good look. They were rushing and he was jumping it off quick to our receivers. They did a good job getting open and finding the voids.
Yeah, a couple times in the game, you guys converted on 3rd and 10 at least.
Yeah,
which was really impressive. It's such an intimidating situation sometimes, but you just gotta go out there and make the best of it.
Yeah.
If you're an offense, but 3 touchdowns in the second quarter for Southwestern, and I know a little bit difficult. What the frustration is going through your guys' head, especially you in the secondary, is your guys were there.
Yeah.
And it was 50-50 balls that the offense just ended up winning. Obviously, they have a really tall receiver,
yeah.
Bryce Chambers. He was 6'4", had 2 touchdowns in that quarter. But still, I mean, you guys were in place to make plays, and it was just kind of I think one of them, everybody's heads were turned away from the football.
Yeah.
Even didn't know where it was at. So I'm sure that was really frustrating for you, kind of coaching that.
Yeah, it was a way. I mean, it's been kind of the tail of the season where we be in the position to make plays, and then we just don't make them, right? So Yeah, just kind of harping on. Got to be in a better position a little bit on that one. Kevin came across the middle on the seam route. He just overran the receiver. So I teach him all the time, hey, run to the low hip so you be in a better position. If he does try to run across your body, and he just overran that receiver. And then Abe on that one, he kind of let the receiver get behind him a little bit, and then they fought for the ball for like at least felt like 10 yards.
Mm-hmm. And
then he just kind of fell forward and fell in the end zone. So we'll be in a position to make plays. We're just not making them right now. So we got to just we're harping on that practice. You got to make the plays when they're given, right? And they're not always given when they're there. You got to make them.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely what I called jump ball situations where it could go 50-50 either way. And, unfortunately in football, a lot of the times the offense typically wins that, based on, just how it looks and everything. Because, the first person to catch it and then, if somebody latches on, usually is the indication of which way it's going.
Yeah, for real. So, got to be better. Got to be in better positions on defense. Defense is hard. It's hard, but that's what we do. That's what we have to do. So we got to be in better positions at every time. So
yeah, it definitely was the opposite of the first quarter for your team as they went up 27-7 at halftime. It's definitely difficult. But you guys had the first score of the second half. You cut it to 2. It was a 16-yard touchdown pass. You guys brought Ethan in, and he was throwing the ball pretty well. He had some good throws to Josiah Buller, and then he ends up finding Larry Cherry for the touchdown. And, that was early in the fourth quarter. Well, 10.5 minutes, but still 4.5 minutes into the fourth quarter. But Southwestern able to score 2 in the rest of the 2 touchdowns in the rest of the quarter. And it was kind of making that difficult for you guys yet again. Yeah. But, there were some bright spots to it, I guess, more than anything, just to focus on, when you have him come in at quarterback in that situation. And, honestly, you just kind of have to, don't really think about what's happened in the game so far. And Ethan came in and threw the ball pretty well. It's just, and sometimes he was kind of entrapped when he was in his pocket a little bit. And that was frustrating.
Yeah, so, yeah. The Southwestern D-line there, they get after quarterback. They have 3-4 good players up there. So, man, we just got we kind of blocked them up here and there for a little bit. We had a couple of times feel like we had forever in the pocket. But when they can kind of blitz a little bit, they do better on the blitz pickup, especially this week with Friends blitzing a lot. So, yeah, man, just Ethan came in and he did a good job. And it just felt like it was time for a quarterback change, kind of just because we kind of sputtered out since the first drive of that game. So, we just kind of figured, hey, see what Ethan can do. Because we kind of told him in the week, and if something happens or something goes wrong in the game, be ready to play, son. And he was ready. He came in and made some plays.
Now, a little bit of the play calling a little bit more than I do, but, it seems like it just kind of seemed after that first drive that we kind of went away from the rollout a little bit. Is that, was that, it just kind of observing, was that really the case, or, what was called there, I guess?
I think we called it a couple more times, and then they were containing a lot. Mm-hmm. So when they knew we were passing, they were containing the DN, so kind of stopped the rollout a little bit shorter. So that kind of messed the pocket up a little bit. So then that's what happened on those a couple times. So they kind of ran away from it after that.
Sure, yeah. Obviously with a quarterback, like DJ, there's advantages to being on the edge and everything, like we just talked about a little bit ago. But yeah, that was kind of something that was going through my mind a little bit when our broadcast wasn't losing the internet. It was a very, very frustrating afternoon from the broadcast booth. That's all I'll say. But let's look at the numbers a little bit. You guys rushed the ball for 130 yards. They rushed it for 175. Well, that was gross yardage. The net yardage ended up being 66 for you guys, and then 155 for Southwestern. They threw the ball for 259. You guys threw it for 159 and three interceptions, and then a fumble on special teams. That was you could call it 4 turnovers, honestly, in that scenario, but a definitely frustrating situation. Obviously, anybody knows the game of football, you turn the ball over that much, your likelihood to win goes down.
Goes down a lot.
Yeah, but nonetheless, Jared Gibbons had a really good pick for you guys. I was really hoping he would run it back.
Yeah, me too.
He
lifts too much weight. He looked a little slow out there.
Yeah, that's 2 of the last 3 games he's had an interception.
Yeah, so he's doing good things for us, for real.
Yeah, and I mistakenly cited him as a Heights alum, but he's at Wichita Northwest alum at the time because he had played against. I'm pretty sure he'd played against their quarterback in high school.
Oh, really?
And so, it was kind of it was between he and the quarterback to get to the end zone there. Yeah. So a little bit of a old feel to it.
Yeah.
But he was the one interception. Otherwise, Braden Howell throws for 5 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. I think Reese Bennett had, at least 1.5 or something
2
like
sacks, yeah.
Yeah. So, but 259 yards passing for Southwestern on 21 completions. Really, you guys really did good against the run in the first half. I'm really in the game. I mean, it says 155 yards, but it didn't seem like that at all.
Yeah, little plays add up quick, especially when they have a 60-yard run in the first quarter. So
it was definitely catching you guys off guard. They got to the edge there and just took off.
Yeah,
but Matthew Holthusen and Bryce Chambers, 2 big receivers for them, ended up with 2 touchdowns apiece, and then they got another one in the passing game as well. For you guys, Ethan ended up throwing for 109 on 12 completions, and DJ ended up passing on 9 completions for 50 yards in the game. Toriana Richardson had some decent runs. I mean, he's still thinking, man, I only have 1 touchdown on the whole season.
Yeah, for real.
And and 80 yards rushing in that game. But he, when he has his opportunities, he takes good advantage of them.
He does.
And Josiah Buller led you guys in receiving with 6 catches for 45 yards. Kenyon McMillan had 2 catches and a 21-yarder. James Menard had a 25-yard catch. Brady Witherspoon a 14-yard catch. These are just the longs. And then, of course, Larry had the touchdown. Jimmy Martin had a couple key catches as well for the Threshers in that one. Colton McCarty and Noah Miller ended up being your leading tacklers, and then Reese Bennett and Jarek Woodley each with a sack. Reese had 2 in the game. But yeah, I mean, you try to look for a little bit positives there, but they definitely were a very good team, and when you're in their mindset of all it takes is for them to knock off an Evangel and the division's wide open again.
Yeah.
And, then you have, however many one-loss teams. I mean, McPherson's one-loss team right now. Southwestern is, Friends is, and then Evangel's the only undefeated team left.
McPherson undefeated, too.
They lost their first game of the season.
But in division, they're undefeated.
Yeah, in the division, you're right. So I forgot about that, the way that it works nowadays. Yeah. But it just kind of, but still, they have a tough game this week. They got to play Evangel. So
Mac versus Evangel?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's for conference pretty much.
If
they went out.
Yeah, I mean it's
big game.
The 4 of the 6 teams really have a chance right now. I mean, you guys, it would take something else. I mean, more than anything. But
Mac lose to Evangel. Mac beat. I don't know, because Mac still got to play Southwestern too. So
yeah.
The last 3 games is crucial.
And Mac still has to play Friends.
Yeah. See, I don't know. We play Evangel. They all got to play each other. So hey, there's a slight chance. You never know.
Yeah, there could be some parity.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean.
They start this weekend.
This conference is going to be something to watch here through the end of it. But I guess it's kind of a big question for you guys right now. I mean, you're 4-4 on the year. Obviously, you want to win as many games as you can with the last 3 that you have. But what's the mentality of the team like right now? I mean, what is you have 22 seniors, I think, and then like 40 freshmen, and then sophomores and juniors make up the other bunch.
Yeah.
What are you guys, I guess the thing is, playing for it in this situation? So
just trying to spoil everybody's season. Go beat Friends. They have 2 losses. Go beat Bethany. Go beat Evangel, and then see what happens at the end of the season. We're trying to win all these games, man. We're just trying to win out. Like, that's our mentality. We're staying positive. We have a theme of the week this week is perseverance. Like, things not going our way, but we still got to keep going. Keep going, and even though times are rough, we got to just keep going. That's the way we live life, right? So things get tough. We're not going to bow down, not going to bend over. We got to just keep fighting for it and keep pushing. Yeah,
it's kind of reminded me of the Liberty football game recently. They lost to like somebody, I think it was like Kennesaw State or somebody like that, a team that was 1-6 or 0-5 at the time, and then beat Liberty and then Liberty went to 6-1. I mean, it's sometimes good to be that, have that one marquee win, if anything, with the rest of the game, seasons left. And but definitely, I mean, you guys have some winnable football games left. No disrespect to any of the other opponents, but I mean, definitely you guys have something, to finish strong with, 4-4, and try to latch on to another winning season, perhaps. I mean, it's going to take a lot for that to happen, but obviously you want to get up, finish on the right foot more than anything.
Definitely.
So let's kind of recap the conference scores in the last week. We'll leave one big game for last. In the Bissell Division, Tabor beat Avila 41-28. Sterling got their first win of the year against Ottawa in Sterling, 27-21. And the other game in the Bissell Division, Kansas Wesleyan defeated St. Mary 38-19. At this rate, I think Kansas Wesleyan and Tabor right now in the Bissell Division are kind of at the top of it. That'd be the game to watch in their division when that happens. But just kind of, it actually happens this weekend. So
another big game.
Yeah, it'll be a big one, a big decider in their division, obviously. But kind of looking at the Kessinger division. Over the weekend, McPherson beat Bethany 59-7. And of course, your guys' game 41-14. Southwestern won, and then the big game was in Wichita, Evangel against Friends. It was 21-21. Evangel got all the way down, went to kick a field goal a little bit closer than what Southwestern had at the end of their Friends game, but this time the Valor knocked it through the uprights, and then all they had to do is squib kick, and they ended up winning 24-21. And those are just summarizing some things, but it was obviously a really good game. Big football game for both schools, being unbeaten going into that one. And it's tough to win on the road anywhere in any level of athletics. And the Valor, I mean, they just love doing that. It's just kind of what they've latched on to, because they're far away from everybody, really. I mean, more than anything. So they played the spoiler there in a 24-21 victory. Obviously Friends, Southwestern, McPherson, Evangel, they're not all, they're kind of still in the hunt, that group of four for the postseason. So we'll see what things wrap up with. But that was the week that was in the second week of division action. Coming up this week, Bethel goes to Friends, last road game of the season, and it's one of the closest, thankfully, in Wichita, and everything is a 1 o'clock kick this week. You can tune in to the KCAC network. Good buddy of mine, Pat Strothman, is the play-by-play of the Friends Falcons, and he'll have you in good hands for that one. But it should be a good game. Other games in the Kessinger division, Evangel hosting McPherson. That'll be a huge one. McPherson will have the tall task of winning at Evangel. Nobody's beat Evangel the last 2 years in KCAC action. So everybody's trying to be that team, and the Valor have made the transition to the KCAC. They've owned it completely, and just three close games, 3 or 4 close games in the 2 years that they've been in the division or in the conference so far. I mean, they've really owned it. But nonetheless, that's the other game going on, as well as Bethany taking on Southwestern from Winfield in the Kessinger division. In the Bissell division, Ottawa hosts Avila, St. Mary hosts Sterling, and Kansas Wesleyan hosting Tabor, and which should be a really good game in Salina this weekend. And just 3 games guaranteed left in the way. And before you know it, I mean, this week is the beginning of November.
It's flying by. The season's going by so fast.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we're getting into crossover season where, volleyball's still playing and, basketball's starting, and, you guys are still going, and it's just kind of hectic for everybody trying to follow you guys all at the same time. Yours truly mainly. But, I mean, it's kind of cool. But, the volleyball team, they're playing for a chance to host a conference tournament game, perhaps still. So they have 3 matches left as of this taping, but should be really exciting. the remainder of the fall seasons. So who knows what will be in store for that. But, let's turn to the Friends Falcons a little bit. Obviously they are having a really good season, even better season than last year, you could argue. It's kind of cut and dry. We know what they are. It's pretty typical. I mean, some of your players and coaches more than anybody know.
Yeah, for real.
And things like that due to the similarities and the mutual kind of experiences together. But I mean, it's Friends definitely a team that's rushed for over 400 a game, passed for about 70 something a game, and it's definitely as far as a rush offense. Your defense has shown that its strength is against the run. Over the course of the season. Now Friends has only thrown for like 2 or 3 touchdown passes all season long. And 300 to 400 yards in the passing game, but we know what that offense is all about. But it's kind of I remember what Coach used to say is they prepare for everything. They prepare for every single look. Doesn't matter what you're going to show. And I always thought that was really compelling to kind of think about. And yet it's not foolproof per se, but I mean you see teams really challenge them. Evangel was able to beat them, and there are some things where we know firsthand from the Bethel running that offense in the past that if you fumble the ball, it's going to burn you pretty bad. And they've been in those scenarios, which I mean it can happen to anybody.
Definitely. For turnovers is a key thing in every game. I think like last game we had 3 or 4, and then kind of that we only forced 1 on defense. So man, that's just when you gain the extra possession is always key, especially against a running team like Friends is. But they do have the ability to pass. They do a lot of trick plays. So like against Evangel last week, they did like 3 or 4 trick plays, and then they do a good job of completing. Quarterback got a good arm. And the slots even have good arms because they do a lot of, like I just said, toss passes and stuff like that. So the receivers, they do a good job of getting open. They do a good job of selling the run. Since they're a run first team, they do a good job of selling the run and then taking off vertical. So it's just on the defense to stay disciplined, do their job every single play, and then limit the big plays, really.
Yeah, you still have some remnants of what used to be the best scout team for that offense. That was here last year and the year before for your defense. But I mean, it definitely know what they're about, what they can do. You go back to last year's game, minus the weather. They found ways to get up, right up the middle, untouched at times. Against your defense. I mean, all it took was like a hesitation sometimes. And they did pretty well. To a very good win and it's kind of the thing where you don't want to repeat some of the same mistakes as last year. Take the weather off the table from that game a year ago. You don't want to be in a situation where you can't move the football. And that's kind of been a struggle all season long. And one of the things with their offense is they like to eat up a lot of time and take away your chances completely. So with all that in mind, I mean, how tough is it to scout them both sides of the ball?
I mean, it's very tough. So it's just hard to replicate the physicalness and how fast everything hits on what they do on offense and defense. So it's kind of tough. Just adjusting to how we gotta align and stuff like that. So on defense, it's gonna be more of a learning kind of week. Just gotta learn how to line up all the different formations they like to show. Learn how to do this. Learn how to read your keys. Right, everybody got a key. You gotta stay disciplined to your job. So it's kind of just tough on. We're just kind of figuring out still trying to figure out what we want to do to their certain looks and stuff like that. And on the offense side of the ball, gotta watch film on what they like to do to certain formations, and then kind of just see what coverages they like, and then what coverage they like to do, and all that good stuff. So just kind of you gotta just do your job every single play.
Right.
Pass the blitzer on, pass this on. If that's your man, stay on him. So stuff like that. You gotta do your job. Pretty much what it boils down to. Just not being selfish, not being greedy. Just kind of do your job and read your key.
Yeah, I'm imagining in my head you teaching your team or somebody teaching your team how to do the best you can against cut blocks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing with that really propels their offense.
Yeah, for
more than anything. And I mean, it's definitely a hard thing to compete against. You got to be really physical.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah, for real. I told the team today that it's gonna be a battle in the O-line, D-line. Whoever wins that battle is gonna have the best shot of winning that game. So they're gonna be very physical in the middle. O-line, D-line going to be very physical. It's going to be a war in there. You got to come out on top.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's kind of the thing. I mean, with them, you even have coaches that played in that system and everything, both offense and defense, and you kind of know what to expect to some degree, and you just have to battle and do your best, because I mean, you guys can do everything you can to prepare them for things. It's just they have to go out there and play the game and execute more than anything. And
exactly. So who knows? We might have some players, some coaches, and some pads this week. Might as well suit up and then see what happens.
Well, nothing will be able to replicate Coach Stokes' Thresher getting lit up.
Yeah, literally. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. I might have to sign some waivers for some of these coaches. They've been out the game for too long, so we'll get them in some pads and see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be something else. Well, we've been talking a lot about their offense. They're so unique on defense as well, with the captain defense and the heat that they bring, and some of the prowling looks that they have, and things like that. But, and some of the blitzes that they like to bring. I mean, I remember Dominique Copeland being in that defense, and all he had to do was pin his ears back and go every single play. That was his one job.
Yeah, for real.
So somebody's going to be coming every single time.
Yeah, so most of the time they blitz 4 or 5 people every play. Man, and Coach Miller was the same thing. Coach Cade, he was one of the GOATs in that defense, I'll say. Him and Coach Gotzi, there's the prototype for the defense, I'd say. So they did a good job. So they're kind of teaching our young guys kind of how to do it a little bit, so they give a better look in practice. But nothing compares to a real thing, right? So, they do a lot of good things on defense. They disguise some stuff, have some good disguise the coverage a little bit. They're really good at man coverage. So, they just got to find a way to pick up the blitzes and beat man coverage, essentially.
Yeah, no question. I mean, their secondary seems to have a pretty good season as well over the course of the season. I think they're deep there as well. I mean, they've really recruited well in those areas, especially in linebackers as well. So, that kind of struck out to me the most as I'm looking at them on paper coming into the game. I mean, their offense is averaging over almost 500 yards a game, not giving up a lot. Just more so to the pass, which, I mean, that kind of makes sense this day and age, giving up 150 yards passing, 70 rushing per contest. Looking at their defensive side of things, I guess we'll jump to their defensive numbers first, since that's what's relevant to what we're talking about. Some of their leading tacklers are definitely some really good players. They had Marquise Willoughby that transferred from McPherson over to their defense. Nolan Ewing's a guy who's been there a while now. Cooper Skrobecki, a guy that was I think he's a sophomore linebacker. They're really excited about what he's brought to the table. They're a really hard-nosed player, but a guy that I think has really struck off the page for them this season is a guy named Brock Zerger, who was a high school quarterback. He's from Derby, so I know a little bit about him and everything. And they've coached him to be, their third leading tackler on the season. I mean, and he didn't play defense. He hadn't played defense since middle school. Dang. So, I mean, it talks about, the kind of coaching and everything. And he was even coming off an injury going into college, things like that. But I definitely know that they're big up front on the D-line as well. They've got multiple guys with 3 or 4 sacks on the season, at least 2. I mean, it's really impressive, and a lot of local kids as well, from the Wichita area and things like that. But they are definitely a very good football team. About, I think, 6-7 interceptions as a defense on the season, and even more than that in sacks. I mean, of course, the way we were describing the defense, you're going to have those opportunities more and more. And things like that. I've always heard, when you play a blitzing team, you try to throw it to where they're blitzing from. But if it's coming from everywhere, that's a tough situation.
Yeah, they do a good job of disguising it too. So they creep up and the other side blitz. So you got to there's on the quarterbacks to communicate to the O-line and which way to protect and all that. So to the running back, which way to go. So it's really on the quarterback to read the defense and get the guy lined up and protect.
Yeah, no question within that. I mean, and that'll be interesting to see how your guys do defensively against them and your offense against them. We're kind of looking at their O numbers. Mentioned they've only thrown them 3 touchdowns or 300 or 400 yards on the season. Rushing the ball, they have 2 guys over 600, and Elias Pino and Cavante Baker both, and a combined 19 touchdowns. The one thing about Cavante is, he's out of all the guys, he's the one that's most prone to fumble football. I mean, 8 fumbles on the season, 6 of them lost. No doubt pitch plays, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you went to, even though you were on the defensive side of things, you were in a flex bone school in Harding and everything. So just from looking at things, how difficult it is in certain situations when you want to pitch but you can't.
It's just especially being the quarterback, you have the ball in your hand all the time, and it's just all those meshes they got to do. So sometimes they got to make 2 or 3 meshes on each some plays, and then do a mesh and then pitch real quick. So being the quarterback in the option team is pretty hard. So some of the fumbles sometimes is on him, but sometimes it's on the slots dropping the ball or something here and there. But Cavante, he's one of the most dangerous guys in our conference and the whole KCAC. So I think last year he's the MVP of the conference. So he does a great job of wheeling and dealing, and when it's his turn to run, he'll take off and make 4 or 5 guys miss and break a long run here and there. So we got to do a good job of containing him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so much of it is based on reads on where the D-end goes and things like that. But even then, when they have somebody that just kind of stops there and contains, they can still pitch it out like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fake, it may not be executed the right way, but I mean, still just like a boom boom type pitch play, and you're on the edge going.
Yeah, for real.
And that's very difficult to defend against. It's kind of something I've been thinking about for a while between their offense with Cavante running the flex bone versus the quarterbacks that here ran it for Bethel. I mean, Zach Esau was a very good quarterback. He could throw it probably out of DJ and Cavante. I think Zach could probably throw it the best.
Yeah.
No question. But I mean, DJ, he really did well in that offense, no doubt. I mean, he obviously may be a little bit more comfortable throwing the football than maybe Cavante is where things go with that, but his elusiveness I feel like was really important as well. Cavante's a bulky guy and really tough to tackle because he can be physical.
Yeah, so all 3 of those QBs, they did great stuff for both of our staffs, because I guess they coached them too. But they all bring a different dimension to the game. And DJ can probably throw a little bit better than Cavante, but Cavante he can still make the throws. You see it on film. He's making throws 40, 50 yards down the field to open receiver. So he still throw the ball a little bit, but his elusiveness, his toughness when running the ball is kind of different than DJ, because he's kind of more of a physical guy. But that being said, DJ can be physical as well. So just kind of give and take a little bit here and there. But I'll take any. I would have a million DJs and Cavantes on my team if I could. Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't help but think about the comparison between the 3 in that offense for that particular coaching staff, and who the most successful typically. I mean, you'd have to compare them by the numbers and production and things like that. And of course, DJ really only had 1 season doing that for the most part, and it wasn't even a complete season.
Yeah, true.
In that, but it definitely did very well, and didn't really have to improv too much, and he just took off down the field and was a really big part of that offense at the time. But others rushing the football, they have at least a couple others that are over 200-300 yards. Nick Cordova and Traylon Gross and Jet Cheatham. Caden Rigsby's there as well. He's been a guy that's been there a while, and Lakin Cloudis as well, but I think some of those guys are a little bit banged up and haven't played in all the games this season.
Yeah, I think Lakin Cloudis come back this week, so he was the all-conference guy last year. So
yeah, he was their B-back, which was kind of interesting because, comparison to the previous B-backs, that we've seen. I mean, Dressler was a really good one for them. They have a guy that's on defense, Barrett Rhodes, who kind of played that in high school really well.
Yeah.
That could potentially be that guy in an emergency situation for them. But, I still feel like the B-back GOAT of the KCAC is Chance Scurry. By all means.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm a little biased there. I'll have to admit.
True.
But I mean, he was a wrecking ball for sure. But just 3 passing touchdowns on the whole year. I mean, they do have some guys that can catch the ball well. I'm going to say this just for fun. I mean, maybe not a Tanner Galliard or a Braden Francis, perhaps, but some guys that definitely have some talent to them. And these are not digs or anything.
Nobody like Braden Francis, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
he was different. But the receivers, they're not as big as Tanner, but they kind of remind me of Tanner a little bit. They're big. They're kind of bigger physical guys. Mm-hmm. They can go up and get the ball, so they kind of remind me of Tanner, but ain't nobody like Braden Francis. Anybody in the KCAC really.
Yeah, he was the utility player.
Yeah.
The guy that could, do anything, kick, punt. You could probably return.
He could do it all.
Receiving, there were so many blown extra points where he just ran them in himself.
Yeah,
it was second nature for the kid.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, definitely some good times and some good personnel. And I really just do these comparisons just so, fans can kind of relate and see, what they have versus what we've had in the past with the flex bone, just to kind of, draw those, and get a good idea of what they do and everything. But obviously, we have a pretty good idea at that point. They had a very good kicker as well. He also punts the football.
Yeah.
Thompson definitely has been in some good situations for them and successfully made kicks. And they do. I know we both know how much time they spend on special teams. They really pride themselves on special teams, especially their blocking ability. So many times, even in most recent games for Bethel, it's just been a struggle to block and protect your kicker and your punter.
Yeah.
In a lot of situations, and it's continuing to be a thing that hopefully is not a mental thing for you guys.
I don't think it's mental. It's just the want to do it. Just so we come in hiring and firing guys all season that could just really just don't have the energy to do it, and then kind of just surprises me that if that's your only thing you're doing, why'd you not want to do that 100%? So. A lot of guys have been taking off field goal and punt kickoff really all year. So just trying to find the guys that actually have the want and will to do it. So that's kind of the key. I think now we have kind of got it narrowed down to the guys that we know that can do it. So So I was just happy. We blocked a Southwestern extra point in field goal last week. So it's not just us a little bit, but so yes. I'm just hopefully it gets better this week.
Yeah, and it's not like you guys are just merely moving personnel. I know you guys try to change things up a little bit based on what the pressure's coming and things like that. You have to adapt to those things. But yeah, it's all up to the kids out there, executing more than anything. And football is a collision sport, so you got to go make a play, whether you're the guy making the play with the football in your hand or not. And it's obviously a big important thing of the game. And again, special teams set up field position more than anything. Even if you hold a team to a couple of field goals, that's almost like a touchdown, basically. So you've got to, I know your defense has done a really good job in some situations. I mentioned the third quarter of this last game against Southwestern, completely holding their offense, which was huge. I think they went for it on fourth down at least a couple times, and you guys did a great job of stopping them. And it's not like, you see your team give up 41 points or whatever. It's not like the defense is bad or is terrible or is anything. We all know they're capable of shutting things down. It's just, there's some things that it really, you get late in the game, you got to, dig out the best version of yourself.
Yeah, so, just tell them when it gets ugly at the beginning, at the end of the game, you got to have some pride. Just do your best to have some pride. Don't give in. Have some Thresher pride and do your best, honestly. So, it's tough, but just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, just keep playing. More than anything. You had guys and you're in a situation where you're down 2 or 3 touchdowns, and Reese Bennett's still out there making tackles. You have guys like Colton McCarty still going out there and just trying to give everything they have.
Yeah.
To make plays. And for some of these guys, for 22 of these guys, these are the last football games they're probably ever going to play.
Yeah.
And so more or less, how do they want to remember them? More than anything, how did they want to go out more than anything? And I know a lot of those guys are starters and play a lot because you got so many young guys. We all know that experience, the 3 or 4 year guys carry programs.
Yeah,
and so a lot is on their shoulders, but they're kind of used to it to some degree. But it's still at the end of the day, it's how do you want to remember this season more than anything? So. That being said, 3 games left on the Thresher football season at Friends this week for 1 o'clock kick against the Falcons, and then back-to-back home games, November 9th and 16th. Both 1 o'clock kicks. Bethany coming to town for the second-to-last game and the last game of the regular season, taking on the Evangel Valor. And, of course, last year's game was awesome for the Threshers. Went to overtime with that. So definitely looking forward to the rest of this season. And, Coach, I think we talked to her. We're blue in the face this week about things and circumstances and, this week's opponent. So I think that's all that's left is just line them up and play and just have a great rest of the week of practice.
Yep.
And keep everybody healthy and ready to go. So
that's the plan.
All righty. Well, thanks, everybody, for tuning in this week. For Coach Dale and Markham, I'm Dan Page. For a final time this episode, telling you to roll on.